watch what's approaching. The supreme moment, reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So let's switch things back up a little bit to the typical showcases. This is going to be the 100% potential showcase or test for the Extreme Intelligence Tien unit. As most of you should know, this guy is getting a Dokkan Awaken coming up. The World Tournament summonable banner is where you can get this guy, and I believe he'll be a featured unit coming up for this weekend in JP. This guy did get a pretty significant improvement and is actually a very solid unit. So, as always, let's cover the stats and then we'll go from there. Again, this is the Extreme Intelligence Tien unit. Leader skill is Intelligence type, Ki +2, HP attack and defense, increase of 60%. The super attack causes supreme damage to enemy and also raises attack and defense by 30% for 9 turns. So even though it's limited to 9 turns, because of the passive skill, which we'll get into here in a second, you can actually stack the attack and defense to a pretty decent level. Now for the passive skill, it's a high chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks, each of which has a high chance to become a super attack. So again, he can launch up to 2 super attacks in addition to the initial one, so that's why you can potentially stack up the attack and defense. Now it does come down to luck, but it is possible. In terms of the secondary passive, it's an attack defense increase of 10% per Dragon Ball Saga category ally on the team. So for this one, it's mostly consistent of Dragon Ball Saga units, except for the Burai unit. She is also on the Boys and Girls category, which the Kid Goku has the secondary leader skill for. But she provides a 40% passive boost to allies' attacks, so it all works out in the end. Now in terms of links, this guy does have, Crane School, which is attack increase of 500, Master and Pupils +1 Ki, Infighter, attack increase of 10%, enemies defense minus 10%, Incredible Adventures +2 Ki, Guidance of the Dragon Balls is 20% to attack, Cold Judgment 20% to defense, and Shattering the Limit is +2 Ki. Just 2 categories for this unit, World Tournament and DB Saga. So World Tournament really is still lacking a proper lead, so chances are you'll be running this guy on the Dragon Ball Saga category. Now at 100% potential, HP is 10,210, attack is 11,226, and defense is 7,238. So the defense stats are a little bit on the low side. However, when you continue to stack the defense, it's actually going to become very good. This guy can actually tank super attacks at a certain level. Finally, 12 Ki Multiplier is 140%. So again, this unit has a lot of different features now, and you know, the ideal team to run this guy on is, of course, the Dragon Ball Saga. You definitely want to take as much of an advantage as you can based on the secondary passive of 10% increase to attack and defense for every Dragon Ball Saga category ally on the team. But I think the main focus really is the ability from the super attack to raise attack and defense by 30%, even for 9 turns. 9 turns is actually a pretty decent amount of turns, given the fact that, you know, this guy can launch up to 3 or 4 super attacks per rotation, depending on how you set up the potential levels. So that is actually going to be pretty amazing. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a very solid unit. So I think it's one of the better World Tournament summonable banner units available right now, amongst some of the others. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people actually pulled, you know, several copies of this unit yet, but he will be a featured unit for the upcoming World Tournament. So I think, you know, it's not a bad thing that he's featured. It's actually a pretty good thing because of how useful this unit could actually be. So even though if you don't take advantage of the, you know, 40% from the attack and defense increase, well, it's actually more than that because it's per category ally. So if you make a full team based on the Dragon Ball Saga category, it'll be up to what, like 70%, including the friend lead. So that is actually a pretty decent amount of number there. Now, if you decide to run him on, let's say, like a villains team or extreme type or extreme intelligence type team, because the reason why I say that is this guy could have some potential for Super Battle Road. Because of, you know, the ability for multiple super attacks and then stack that attack and defense, you know, it's very much so a possibility that he could very well be useful for that. So it's one of those considerations. Like, the initial point being, even though you're missing out on that secondary passive boost of attack and defense, you can certainly bring in other units that, either provide the rest of the team, passive support with either attack or defense or both, or just, use this guy to basically get some immediate results in terms of increasing attack and defense. You know what I mean? Like, those are multiple ways to go about it. Outside of that, I don't really see, other setups you would run. I mean, the only thing that hurts this guy is two categories, and one is actually pretty much non-existent. The World Tournament category is still lacking a proper leader, so we can't really consider that because, again, you can't really run a good team based on that category. But at least the Dragon Ball Saga is not only a good category, it's a pretty decent category, but it's also a very interesting one because, for me, at least personally, I love, the Dragon Ball Saga, so whenever I'm able to run teams like that through that little saga, it makes it a lot of fun for me. So, by the way, LR Yamcha is a pretty good link buddy for the Tien unit. They do share several links, like Infighter, obviously Guidance of the Dragon Balls, Shattering the Limit, I believe they also share, so I can't remember all of them. Incredible Adventure is another one that is a key link they do share, I believe, so pretty good one. The Kami unit's also pretty good. Not only do they share some good links, Kami also provides like a 25% increase to attack for allies as well. Buddha obviously provides that 40% increase to attack as part of her passive, and fits in the secondary leader category, secondary category from Kid Goku. So, decent enough unit to include. You could also include like Android 8. Android 8 also does have several links that he does share with the Tien unit as well. So, it's definitely a pretty versatile category. And they are improving the quantity of units available in this category, so it's not too bad. I mean, these guys can hit for a pretty decent amount. They're nowhere close to, obviously, the best categories in the game, but it's a lot of fun to run this type of team, So that's really what it comes down to. And chances are likely, at some point in the future, they are going to introduce new Super Battle Road category stages, and Dragon Ball Saga could very well be one. So I think it could potentially be beneficial to have this guy on that sort of setting. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, so this is going to be a Dokkan mode attack, but it's the very first battle, so the attack and defense hasn't really increased, but over the course of the later parts of the battle, his attack and defense will substantially improve, and that's really the biggest benefit about this unit. So 1.6 million right there with the Dokkan mode attack, but later on in the battle, you should be able to get close, you should be able to get to numbers that are closer to that without an actual Dokkan mode. So again, this guy could certainly be a decent enough hitter to where he could certainly be tested on more difficult stages. I don't know if Legendary Goku Battle Event. I'm sure if you build the right teams, the Dragon Ball Saga could potentially clear it, but yeah, I haven't tested it myself, so I can't say for sure, but I think including this guy on it would certainly help versus maybe some of the other units, but we'll see how that is. Like I said, I haven't tested it yet, so I can't say for sure. So I mean, about what? Maybe about 5 or 6 turns in, maybe a little bit more than that. 1 million attack stats, that's certainly, pretty good. I mean, honestly, I don't want to overhype it, you know what I mean? But it almost feels like this guy is a pretty good unit. The ability to raise attack and defense definitely does help him. Now, it's not infinite. Like some of the other units are, but 9 turns is a long enough duration where his additional attacks for a potential super will pretty much nullify that restriction. You could continue to stack little by little. Now, some of those are going to fall off, but you should be able to continuously stack to a certain degree. And yeah, what else is there to say about LR, Goku, and Arale? They're pretty amazing free-to-play units. They're not the toughest grind out of the bunch, but they're very solid units. They're definitely amongst the top-ranking free-to-play units. So it is going to be type advantage throughout the rest of this showcase, so they should be able to put out some pretty decent numbers here. So windmill with the crit, additional super attack kicking in. We'll see how that goes. And then yeah, I mean 3 supers back to back to back. So you know, if you look at it from a cumulative standpoint, this guy can apply some pretty decent amount of damage. So that's definitely a plus. Honestly, wish I had the old channel or video overlay on here where I used to have the Tien on the side. Should have called him the neck breaker. But back to this whole thing. All right, so we got Dokkan mode. We'll close it out here, but yeah, the attack and defense levels have gone up to a certain degree. As you saw, 415,000 attack stats. That is actually a very high number. We're talking about, you know, numbers closer to some of the LRs, you know, so it's getting in that region of pretty ridiculous numbers. So yeah, it's in that perspective, he's a solid unit for sure. All right, 1.4 million, and he's gonna keep hitting. So definitely, like I said, good unit. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video as always. Thanks for watching. I'll check you guys later.